Are you, I don't think you're live. Your microphone's not on.
Now it is. Hello.
Professionalism.
I do not. That was very Vulcan of you. I do not believe your microphone is on right now.
I do not believe.
Anyway, welcome everyone to Star Trek Trek, our ongoing review of all things Star Trek. We are continuing with the brand new season of Strange New Worlds with episode amusingly titled Charades, which actually, the charades has a little twofold meaning there. I was hoping we would get more of the actual charades in this than we actually did, but we didn't. But we did get enough of them. Like, what
It exists in our hearts.
What was Annie B. Mount? Please tell me that is Anson Mount himself. No, thank you for following Annie B. Mount. So, like, what was T'Pring's dad's name? Savet. MVP of the episode, absolutely, for me. Like, that guy, just like, for a Vulcan, for a Vulcan, he had a lot of, like, I don't know, eagerness, or sort of very kind of just like humble, like, I just want to live my best life.
He just wants to live his life. Yeah, straight up. He just wants to live. He has a wife who is henpecking him to death.
Like, that speaks arranged marriage, isn't it? That's just like, he's like, this is my wife.
That's the traditional Vulcan way, isn't it, right?
Yeah.
To have it arranged, yeah. Man, what a poor guy.
Yeah. But no, absolute hero of the episode. This was an episode of, well, I'm going to say this should just be called Spock Amok 2 to T'Pring Boogaloo, really, because it is kind of literally a direct follow-up to Spock Amok with T'Pring and Amanda as well, and all sort of like following the more hijinks and intricacies between Spock, T'Pring and Chapel's relationship, which came to a startling conclusion, which many people have been a bit conflicted
and a new
about.
beginning.
Potential new beginning. I don't know how he's going to fuck it up yet, but it's...
He'll find a way.
Of course
Spock always does.
I mean, the image I've seen going around lately is the one from TAS. Sorry, I got distracted. TAS of Chapel sitting on Spock's lap in, I don't know what episode from, but, for people saying, like, this breaks canon, Chapel can't be with Spock, this is... I'm thinking, well, we know that T'Pring and Spock do kind of go on the rocks a little bit, and we know Chapel has feelings for Spock, but eventually he will.
Because the implication I always got in fucking Amok time was that they had not seen each other for years. Like, Spock and T'Pring had not been keeping in constant contact, and they had nowhere near as close as they are here. So clearly, this is just the beginning of whatever is going to fracture that relationship into coldness and for those of you who are worried, I do not believe Spock is cheating on anyone when he is hooking up with Christine. Because guess what? If you are on a break, you are not in a relationship. You are not emotionally
how many friends
hostage.
debates? We were on a break, Ross and Rachel kind of things. Like, how many people have?
I'm sorry,
those
but
who are younger than do not remember the 90s as well as I do. There was a popular show called Friends in which two main characters had a breakup very similar to this.
And then one of them went and started fucking people. And it's like, guess what? That's what happens when you declare that your relationship is on a break. Ergo, it is not. Are you together or are you apart? Well, we're not together, so we're apart.
I mean, didn't T'Pring literally leave Spock's quarters and then Chapel enter? Like, that's pretty quick. That's a swift turnaround.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it doesn't really matter whether or not you have feelings. It's whether or not you act on them until you're out of the relationship. That's kind of the thing. It's
true,
like, that's the you can't blame people for having feelings. That's not and you can't hold people emotionally hostage and say you can't go off into relationships. You were meant to sit around and mope because I punished you for the thing that I thought was a bad idea. And guess what? It was a bad idea. Spock did fuck up in this episode, but T'Pring has no room to criticize him for pursuing a relationship with Christine, especially considering the fact that she's going to do the exact same fucking thing with Stan.
Well, yeah, I mean, she will eventually. I thought, the thing we have to remember here is Spock is young. Like, he is very young for a Vulcan. He is in his 20s. Like, considering Vulcans live for about 250 odd years, that's incredibly young. Like, he is still in his adolescent period. Like, for a Vulcan, like you said, they said earlier, like, oh, you're having teenage reactions. Well, he is still in that kind of phase of his Vulcan life where, arranged marriages may not be so sacrosanct to him, and with his Vulcan human dual heritage, like, he's definitely playing by different rules. Still shocking now we're getting such Spock focused episodes in Strange New Worlds, like,
and they're good.
But they're good.
That's the thing that's kind of crazy, and they're fresh.
Yeah, no regrets. Like this whole Spock T'Pring interaction, and especially we're seeing T'Pring's family as well, which is, God, that woman. Like, it pulls on so many moments from Enterprise, from the Vulcans in Enterprise, like with the smell receptors.
Yeah, can we have a conversation about the fact that Strange New Worlds, which is like kind of the darling of New Trek, is subtly just bringing in all of these elements from 2009 and from Enterprise, which have long been held with derision, sometimes like fairly. And they're like, no, these are still canon. We're going to treat them, and we're going to just revisit these concepts and go, what does this look like, told in a proper Star Trek format with proper Star Trek writing? It's like, actually, there's some compelling stuff here that we didn't pick up on the first time through. Yeah,
and, if a Vulcan eats bacon in Pike's quarters, is it logically sound?
Yeah, because I was wondering about that, because Vulcans are usually vegetarian, right?
Well, this is the thing, yeah. I don't know if that has been strictly said that all Vulcans are vegetarian, or whether it was just certain...
T'Pol was.
T'Pol certainly was, and I think a lot of Vulcans generally are, but there was definitely... What was that episode of Enterprise where we had the ship of Vulcans that weren't Vulcans that came aboard, and they were all, like, emotional, and I vaguely remember
that was Enkatash Katil or whatever, or something similar.
Yeah, and they're sort of Vulcans, but not Vulcans. They sort of follow a different sort of trend of things like that. And I think that, you've got the Vulcan separatists and things like that. No, what's it? The logic reformists, I forget.
The logic extremists.
The logic extremists and things like that. You've definitely got many sides to this culture. I think being vegetarian is probably a popular one, but I reckon you've got your sidelines are just like, give me a steak. I'd love a steak. Yeah. give me some salad. Give me a side of salad.
That shanks. Yeah, totally. So I have a question for you, because our good friend Cranky has brought this point up. What are your feelings on the fact that changing Spock on a genetic level changes his behavior?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because Vulcans traditionally always have the emotions inside, don't they? They always have it bottled up, and they keep it, more ferocious than humans, but they are such trained professionals that they can keep it all seething until once every 7 years it all comes up, and but I feel that, there is a little bit of emphasis here that they're playing up the comedy more for the fact, he's lost his Vulcan side, all his human sides coming out, and I think the Vulcan side was a lot of the inhibition. The Vulcan side was a lot of the temperament and the restraint. I think removing that from him definitely, brings out, and like I said earlier, Spock is young. Like, he is a very... in the adolescent stages of a Vulcan life, him then losing his Vulcan side would definitely make all these human expressions come out in a very explosive way, which is what we see in this episode. It's happening to him for the first time, to his psyche, and it's just like, I'm hungry, I'm angry, I'm scared, I'm horny, and all these things just coming out all at once. And I think it makes sense. And like I say, they've done it for comedic effect, and it was perfect. It was really good.
Yeah, for me, it's interesting, because so far, for a lot of the canon, we've been told that it's all Vulcan mental training. And at some point, I have to start thinking, well, there is actually a biological component to the Vulcan physiology. Like, because mind melds, like, Vulcans are able to mind meld, and that is not a thing that humans can do. There must be an actual biological difference to their brain.
Yeah.
And especially, like, if you think about how long ago was the Vulcan and Romulan,
the Sundering, it was like 2,000 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, that's more than enough time for divergent evolution to have happened, and for Vulcan brains to actually just be physically different, and for the logical, training and inhibition to at some point become genetic and possibly biological. Now, I'm no geneticist or biologist, and I'm sure that this is probably a little bit ridiculous to think.
No, but tell me what you think anyway.
This is Star Trek.
Yes,
this is Star Trek.
Yeah,
it's sci-fi. Like, it's all in service of the story and the characters in the end, and it's like, while I think it's maybe a little bit far-fetched to think that, you unspool a few genetic strands and suddenly he's, acting like this, but there must be an actual genetic component to it that is allowing the Vulcan control to be so tamped down, and removing that allows this overexpression of emotions, and I kind of appreciate that they took a slightly different tact with it than every other time. T'Pol or Tuvok would undergo a similar sort of storyline. They love doing this with Vulcans, but here there's a bit more. It's not treated as like a trauma sponge. It's just for fun and as a character study in a way of what would Spock look like if he was completely human. And that is an interesting question.
I said this year in the watch along, like the Strange New Worlds thing about Spock in human mode and Spock in Vulcan mode is his hair is slightly ruffled, and apart from the ears, but yeah.
Well, you're physically different, yeah. And it's even a thing that was dramatized in Spock and Mock, like the actual conflict between the two halves. Yeah. Like. It's interesting that we spent 60 years talking about the conflict and how half human, half Vulcan Spock feels about it, and we go, yeah, but what does it look like when you split them? Because we had that with Kirk, good and evil Kirk, and very bad enemy within. Yeah, absolutely. But thinking about it on a biological component and what it does for the personality is a much more interesting idea, thinking about these two recognizable halves. And Chapel rightly points out, I don't want Spock as he is, as he's human and easy to talk to and understanding of my emotions. I want Spock as the unique individual that he is that combines both of these things to allow completely unique insights and unique philosophy. Yeah, specific parts of the brain regulate various emotions, so at least those have to be more evolved in Vulcans. So yeah, that absolutely makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. I think yeah, it is. Interestingly, this was written by Henry Alonso Myers, who is the showrunner, who also wrote Spock and Mock, so that makes sense. They're also co-written by Catherine Lynn, who wrote a Lower Decks episode, Wedge Douche, which was the
That's the Lower Decks episode, right? Where it's all the other ships.
Yeah, all the other ships. That one, yeah. So I think we even said this had a little bit of Lower Decks energy to it when we were watching through. And I was like, no, it does. There's a little sort of like those little comedic stings and little outrageous moments. Like, I think it was the Yellow and Blue, the Carvonians. I forget their name now.
Kokovians.
The Kokovians, that's the one. And they're just coming out and said, hello, how can I help you today? You have not submitted the proper... Almost a little Douglas Adamsy as well. Sort of very sort of like Vogon Form Patrol kind of thing, and it was very good, very good.
Yeah, and it's also very odd that it's a sequel to Spock and Mark, considering the fact that the Rongovians and the Kokovians are both very interesting alien races, but they are very much in the background of this. They are not treated as the forefront.
They're a little bit caricaturish as well, because the Rongovians had their one trait, didn't they? And the Kirkovians kind of had their one sort of, almost trait-ish kind of thing of being an other dimensionally being. Can I point out a thing here, though? Can I say, like, this all happened on, like, within a light year of Vulcan? They had this huge interdimensional being, this huge gravimetric eddy, and the Vulcans have only just now decided, maybe we should look at that. We've been in space for, like, several hundreds of years. We'll let the humans do that.
Well, we have to assume that the anomaly that they detected was a brand new development.
Maybe.
And we don't know what caused that. And we have to assume that, for all we know, there were Vulcan medical archaeologists who were conducting digs on Kirkov, and they hit something and it turned it on, and Yellow and Blue were peering through the port like, are they bothering us again? Oh, God. They're bothering us.
Yeah. We would like to engage in diplomatic contact. No? Well, fuck you.
No, I'm not interested. I'm placing the phone down. Okay, Idle, I need a honest answer from you. Who had the best funny expressions in this episode? Because it's a competition.
Who are my options?
Okay, I'll make it easy on you. So, Pike, Amanda, Spock, and I'll say Mbenga.
It's Pike. Everything that, like, Pike was mostly there for comedic and reaction shots, but just the moments when he's sitting there and he goes, this human tradition of charades, fuck, what have I done? You're like, literally, just, and the moment he's got the tray.
Because to me, it's Amanda. It's like when he says charades, and she's like,
huh? Yeah.
She's like about to. You a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Like, because Amanda's picked up all the Vulcan emotional suppression, right? She's really good at schooling herself. But there was a moment there where she wanted to go, what the fuck are you smoking? You're meant to be a Starfleet captain, and the best you could come up with is charades.
And Savet's like, here, I want to play this. Let's do this now. I want to enjoy this.
He's probably really good at charades, actually.
Yeah, I imagine so. Oh,
Okay,
wow. So
but
I'm
can
sorry.
you imagine with me?
I know.
Imagine with me that Savette takes charades back with him to Vulcan, and it becomes a new dinner craze.
Yeah.
I want to see Vulcans playing charades.
Oh, yes.
I want it.
But they make it so
Anyway, sorry, you were
needlessly
saying.
complicated. They really just go over the top. It's like, well, how can it sound like this if it is not
Biogenetic particles.
Yes. Is it auditory or is it merely received by the the auditory node of the brain? Which species are you? Yeah. Interestingly, Savette's actor, just looking him up. Do you remember the old computer animated series Reboot? From back in...
Yeah, vaguely.
He played Bob in that, one of the characters, Bob. Oh my god, there's a Reboot. Yeah, he played the main character in Reboot. That's crazy to me, because I used to love that when I was a kid. Ah, he was in The Expanse. I knew where I saw him. He was in The Expanse.
Who was he in The Expanse?
He was Avasarella's husband when he got recast. Knew I'd seen him somewhere.
Well, no wonder he's playing that type. He's fucking being bulldozed by fucking.
And you even said like, oh my god, it's Avasarala, Vulcan Avasarala, as soon as you walked in.
Right down to the fucking fashion outfit, like the fucking that high collar. I saw that and I immediately thought of Avasarala. I've only seen season 1, but I already know she's iconic.
Yeah. No, because they recast the husband second time round. So he's but in season 5, I think. Anyway, what a shame it was we didn't get to see Pelia and Amanda talk though. Like after all that sort of diatribe with them, it's like, oh yeah, I outed myself as a Lanthanite. That's the one.
Lanthanite, yes.
To and then we didn't get to see it. Oh, Pelia's not here, which is a shame they couldn't make it work, because that would have been a cool little interaction.
Yeah, it seems to be becoming clear that they are reserving the chief engineer spot for this actor doesn't have a lot of time or is some way hindered and cannot come on every episode, so we're going to make them the guest spot and then they turn up when they can.
Yeah. Which is an interesting idea, but I think if they're going to set up something like, oh yeah, Spock's mum was like my best friend, and then they have Spock's mum turn up and not interact with each other, that's a bit of a bummer.
It's an unfired Chekhov's gun, yeah. But we don't know. Maybe I would love it if Amanda turned up again.
Yeah, I mean,
because we had no idea she was going to turn up until we got like a preview issue of this. So
and it was cool. Mia Kirshner's still got it. She absolutely does. Like, it's very cool to see her.
She was a great cast from Discovery. Yeah. Like, Discovery cast everyone pretty much perfectly. Like, I still love James Frey and Sarek. I think he's incredible.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, we know why he's not here. Like, we know, like, obviously he's not speaking to Spock, but...
Look, he and Spock would get in the same room, and Spock would just start choking him out, and Sarek would be like, "Cool, you can try and choke me out," and then he would slam him through a table for what he did with Michael's.
Oh my God,
gave up
that's
Michael's
music.
for real. Like fucking Michael lost her spot in the Vulcan Science Academy because of him, and he didn't even take it.
Yes. Hey, Sarek, how many children have you lost lately? One's
more than you'd think, but less than you'd hope.
Yeah, exactly. One's gone off to prison, the other one's gone off to the future. It's just me, and you're not even talking to me.
Yeah, no, I'm your least favorite son. It's like, Cyborg's a fucking revolutionary, and he still likes them more than Spock. I can see that being the case.
Yeah, definitely.
Man, there was a lot of really fun stuff in this episode. Like, so many good sight gags.
Can we talk about the recurring fact that no one likes Pike's cooking? What's going on? Look at the effort he puts in.
The problem is, I don't think it's a case of no one likes Pike's cooking. I think everyone is constantly having to deal with matters that are more
Oh, you've just cut out there. Oh, no, we've lost you completely. Got a loose cable. But no, yeah, you think you're right. Like, what things could be more important than Pike's cooking? Come on.
You're thinking with your stomach. That's the problem.
I always do. That is the problem.
Yeah. It's the case of, like, we're dealing with engagement dinners, or I just lost a promotion because of, like, Starfleet politics. I don't want to eat right now. And Pike's like, but I made it special for you.
Apart from Savette. Savette loved it until he was told he didn't love it.
Savette had all that put in a doggy bag. You know he did. Like, he was like, can I get all that to go?
Pike's like, yes, I've got you. Like, him and Savette, after that ceremony, they just sat and devoured.
Guess what? Spock and T'Pring, doomed. Pike and Savette, absolutely happening.
Best buds now.
Yeah, totally.
Playing charades and eating Vulcan canapes till the wee hours of the morning.
That's diplomacy, man. It's just like, you make that fucking 10 mil, if you make it just right. You get it salted, just okay.
No,
so good.
This is great. A lot of good visual work as well. The shuttle flying into the anomaly was a real cool anomaly. Like, that was a really interesting point.
Yeah, they like, weird flex, but cool.
Yeah. And
it's like, and I love the depiction of interdimensional space in this as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like almost sort of prophet, kind of a lot of analogues between them and the prophets, you know, sort of being transported somewhere and then non-linear in time and things like that. They're very analog to that. I think that Namer says, I want to know more about these aliens. I think they are going to be like the one note. This is mostly, we'll see of them. I don't think we're...
Well, it's going to be like the Rongovians. It's a case of like, guess what? In 30 years' time, a game like Resurgence will come out and delve well into their culture, and you'll get to see them. There you go. That's what you'll have.
And we'll make jokes
They'll
about
turn
them
up again in the TNG era. Precisely.
Yeah, definitely. It was cool, though, that we had the Uhura and Ortegas with Chapel sort of flying into day. I'm going to assume they got permission to fly the shuttle out and they didn't just steal it. And I was like, oh, we're going to prove the mission. Pike's just like, yeah, go, you do your thing.
Una would have given them a go-ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Pike would have approved that.
It's, you know, it was Ortegas at the con, not Spock. So she's like, yeah, you can fly out of that. Or fly straight into it and be fine anyway. I loved it when they went into the dimensions like, am I dead? I don't feel like I'm dead. I'm sure it'd tell me. Like, very casually, they're flying into this like, we're dead? Yeah, well, if we're dead, never mind. I had a good run.
Yeah, so it was kind of interesting that while the last episode gave us a bit more of an Ortegas focus in terms of screen time, like she was doing the whole I fly the ship, I thought this was a nice little showcase of a bit more of her character, where it's interesting putting her in a room with two people who are arguably even more impulse control deficient than she is, and she has to be the responsible one. Like, I always love seeing that. She's like, no, I'm a Starfleet lieutenant, I'm not just a maverick, I have to follow proper procedure. But at the same time, I want to fly into the weird space thing. I want to go in there. I want to do a fucking sick flip. And I really appreciate that. I wish Una got more to do.
Yeah.
Like, she got some fun things to do here. Like, her bit during the "you must talk like a Vulcan" was hilarious.
I do hope we get some more Una stuff later in the year. I hope she hasn't, like last season, I hope she's just not had her one episode and then she doesn't... Like I've said before, I want to see her in command of a situation. I want to say, like, Pike's been incapacitated and they're in a battle scenario or something like that. I need to see... Well, not need to, but I'd like to see her chops as a first officer and a potential commander, you know? Because for all we know, we don't know what happens to Una after, you know, TOS. You know, she'd go on and get her own command, or she might do other things, who knows? But it'd be interesting to see more of her capabilities.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's a case of, like... That's what the thing with Strangely Worlds is. There are so many characters I'm always happy to see everyone. There is nowhere I'm like, oh, it's this person's episode.
No.
But I'm always constantly like, Una kind of gets the shot. Like, Lan got a good few little spotlight bits here. Like, you got the bit, but Una I feel like could do with a bit more screen time. I would like more Una. Give more Una.
And Uhura's definitely shown those ensign stripes. She's had a promotion. She's like, no, I'm in command now, and I'm being reasonable, and like everyone's just going with her. Like, even Ortegas, who outranked her, she was like the one in command on that mission, just like, yeah, sure, we'll do your idea, that's fine.
Guess what? Uhura is smart, she is compassionate, she is a good Starfleet officer, despite the fact that she's still probably not quite sure if she... Well, I'm still waiting for the Uhura focus. I think she's sure now. I think
that was the point in Hemmer's death, was to sort of show her way forward was in Starfleet.
True, but I'd be curious to see where that goes, because we know she becomes a captain at some point. I'd like to see more homing of her command capabilities. I'm kind of curious to see if we see more of that in the flashback episode we think is coming.
And by the movie era, she, you know, especially like Final Frontier and the Undiscovered Country, she is very much like smart and capable. Like, if you know, they didn't use Nichelle Nichols the way they could have, but you know, you definitely see her going towards a more command streak. And I think it's definitely like the geriatric, by the Undiscovered Country, it's definitely like the geriatric ship of friends. And like, yeah, we really need to go and do our own thing now, don't we?
Yeah. No, the instant she got off that ship, she got promoted and like was like bossing around Picard on the fucking the Longrons raid, or whatever it was called.
Leon de Grance or whatever it was. Well, yeah,
that's what it was. Sorry, yeah.
The train ship that flew out to the Magellan in the Magellan Clouds or something like that, which is outside the galaxy or something. Apparently, that I don't know.
Look, Uhura just stood there as a flex, okay?
I'm going where no man's gone before. I'll show you where no woman's gone before. How about that? There you go.
Damn right. Okay, but Idol.
Hello.
We have to talk about Jess Bush.
We do. Holy shit.
She fucking knocked it out of the park, man. Like, that bit where she walks out of Spock's quarters after giving him the emotional therapy, and she looks like she is absolutely... She looks like she's dead inside, man. Yeah. I felt so bad for her.
She's got so many, like... You felt the heart of her turmoil, like, because obviously she's attracted to someone else that's, you know, it's the classic love triangle thing. 'Cause usually I hate love triangles. I've said before that this has kind of brought out my inner soppiness that I don't do. I think there was I remember watching Battlestar Galactica years ago, and there was a whole love triangle thing, and I was like, oh god, do we really have to do this? And it was awkward. But this has not felt awkward. This has felt almost natural in a way that you can kind of understand it, but mostly because
it just feels fleshed out and like a tragedy in the making.
I think
you sympathise with both T'Pring and Chapel, and you want both of them to be happy, but
know where it goes. This is the difference.
Are incompatible. Yeah,
I think this is why it works, because we know how it ends up, and I think it is more to see the journey, because we know, we want to see where this goes, and the fact that we've now got this excellent actress in Jess Bush doing some stunning work alongside Ethan Peck, who's also doing amazing work. And I said in the watch through, Ethan Peck's doing this bit, not doing it because of that, but he's recording this bit to show like, no, I'm not a one-note Vulcan. I've got all these really fun things I can do, and it can show emotion or show emotion without showing emotion, which I think is an amazing talent. Like T'Pring's really actress, I forget her name, Charades, something like that. I
don't know off the top of my head.
Anyway, she
I'm
is
bad
amazing.
with the guest stars.
Yeah, no, she is amazing because she does that whole being able to emote without emoting, which I think is a huge skill.
Yeah, because that was the thing that they really struggled with in the DS9 and sort of like TNG and Voyager area. It was a case of like you would occasionally get a Vulcan guest star who was very good at communicating that, but often they would just be dicks. Like, how do I communicate? I'm in command of my emotions. I'm a dick. That's how I communicate.
Anyone in the Vulcan High Command that wasn't Saval.
Absolutely, yeah. But it's like, I feel like in Strangely Worlds, every Vulcan that we've seen has been a bit more. Well, Pasok was a bit two-dimensional, but that's kind of the role.
Yeah.
And I'm not convinced we've seen the last of him.
No.
So, Idol, you have segments we need to do, correct?
Shall we? Shall we do best and worst moment? Since it's just the two of us this week, what was your best and worst moment?
Yeah, where the fuck is Frank?
I don't know. He said he was coming. Now he's not. Okay. I think he's late on a flight or something like that. Anyway,
fair enough.
Never mind.
Blame for that.
We cannot.
All right, well, you go first.
Oh,
you get
right.
best.
Wow. I can't get prize permission. Oh, cool. I mean, best is too hard. I can't think of that at the moment because the entire episode could be the best moment. Worst moment. Jeez. I think maybe the fact that the Karkovians were literally on the border of Vulcan space and just no one had it just seemed awfully convenient that it happened to be all here. Everything was, and yeah, I'd say that's probably maybe the bit that doesn't stand up to the test of time a little bit. Maybe if they were out in the middle of space somewhere and T'Pring's parents were on the ship, they could have done it that way and they kind of encountered the civilization. They could have written it differently.
It would have been harder to fudge.
Yeah, so yeah, I think it's easily overlooked. I mean, this is me nitpicking. This was an awesome episode, so like I can't really think of worst moment. Best moment, just
you have to pick one. No, I'll be kind. You can pick two.
I can pick two. You're so kind. I'm going to go with Spock talking to La'an. And that awkward moment there, and it just goes like, you're snacking all the time. And he goes, I am hungry. That made me laugh. Like when I first saw it, it made me laugh like nothing else. It's just like very kind of Drax-ish, just like I am hungry all the time. Like,
I am hungry.
Yeah. And my second favourite moment, which I think you're probably going to steal it from you, is going to be him just shouting at Sam Kirk like, "I will break you." Did I steal it? Yes.
Damn it! That was going to be my one because like I've been wanting to see Sam all season.
Yeah.
I love Sam. And this is the best possible use, is we don't know that the fucking neural parasites nearly had their chance stolen from him. He nearly was strangled to death by Spock over crumbs. I love it. It's so good.
So I will break you. Clean up your dish.
I will kill you.
Go on, I'm going to give you the hard decision now of picking something else, but go on, what was your best and worst moments?
Okay, worst moment for me, absolutely with a bullet, has to be Pelia and Amanda, our best friends. Yeah. We do not get to see them interact. That is an absolute missed opportunity. Why even like take that opportunity to set that up if you're not going to capitalize on it? If it's a case of schedules not working out, make them work out. Film this later. Do something. It's a story opportunity that is not been taken, and I need to see it. If you're going to do it later on the season, I will retract this happily, but it is a glaring omission. Best moment. Okay, I get two. I'm get two. Fuck you.
Of course you get two. There's only two of us. So that'll round out to four.
Yeah, absolutely. True. God, it's so hard. Which is what Chapel was probably saying to Spock.
Is that a Vulcan gong in your pocket?
No, it's a Lurper, clearly.
For which end?
Okay. I've got to give it to just Ethan Peck in general. This episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Everything he did, from the awkward, borderline psychopathic way he was looking at Chapel awkwardly in the shuttle, the all the little stupid expressions when he was goofing off in the montages, his communication, like, the instant difference between human and Vulcan Spock, instant difference.
What the?
Yeah, exactly. And second best, I would say, I'm going to give it to Ortegas, actually.
Oh, okay.
I feel like she was really well served in this episode. She got a lot of funny moments. She got a lot of responsible moments. I feel like she got a lot more to do here, and I just appreciate it because Melissa Navia is a treat, and I love seeing her every time. And this was like less showy, but more substantive than what she had for the last episode. I liked what she had in the last episode, but this was a bit more. Show me competent Starfleet individuals. It is my fetish.
Wow. That's niche. Are you competent in your job? No, I'm average. No, get out of it. Get out of it. Evan says, worst moment, he says, to the fact that he didn't bother to clearly tell them they made a mistake straight away was my worst moment. It annoys me in other shows as well, where they don't talk about their problems and they just react to them. I feel this was slightly justified because, Spock was hesitant because of what Tring was saying about his mother, and then Amanda found them out straight away. So it was a little bit...
No, so I think you're misunderstanding what Evans said. I think Evans is talking about the fact that when Pike is talking to the Kerkovians in the initial thing with the calling card, he doesn't immediately say, no, you fucked up.
Yeah, well...
He doesn't say it, and that is a bit of a...
That's the episode over then, but I think he was caught out a little bit by the fact that he just went, no, thanks, bye, and he's like, he even said bring them back.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he was quite expected. He was a bit caught off guard by that. But it is a valid point, but then again, you need that moment to happen so that you can have Chapel do the, no, I feel for Spock. I have to admit my emotions.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of a contrivance. Yes, his hair failed him in that moment.
They couldn't see the quiff. They couldn't see the quiff. You got another best moment? You did Spock and...
I did too, yeah. Ethan Peck, and I did Ortegas.
Oh, yeah, of course you did. Okay. Yeah. What is... so much to choose from. What is your rating criteria this week?
All right. Idle. How many sacred syllables out of 10 would you give this episode?
Ooh. I need to spell syllables. How do you spell syllables? How many sacred syllables?
Syllables, I believe.
I'll let AutoCheck sort that out. Okay. Man, it's going to be hard not to give this a 10. It really is. Chat, chime in as well what your rating is of this episode. Because
it will be counted.
It will be counted. It will be put into the ratings. Fair and scientific, as it always is every week.
Always.
Absolutely. I can't not give it a 10. Like, my only problems with the episode... I mean, problem as a whole is it's another Spock episode, but I really enjoyed it, so I can't really put that against it.
He gets one a season.
Yeah, well... Yeah, that's true, actually. I suppose... Yeah, I suppose so. I think he will get another one as well. He had some stuff with the Serene School last season as well as Spock and Mock. So we're getting a lot. I just really I would watch this again. This and Spock and Mock are just absolute bangers back to back. Like, they are comedic. They're not traditional Star Trek episode. This isn't Chain of Command. This isn't Best of Both Worlds. This isn't the Drumhead. But it's still so enjoyable. That's 10. It is 10 for me. 10 out of 10. I feel bad giving 10 out of 10. How bad is that? Because, like...
Nah, I never feel bad about it. Guess what? Especially when we start doing our classic Trek reviews with Trek Time, and we're going to be Trek rather.
Yeah.
We're going to start giving out some 10s, and it's going to come hard. It's going to come fast. This is a 10 for me. That's just 10 sacred syllables out of 10 because I was the first time I watched this, I was watching it with Brody and Marie, and all three of us were just fucking creasing up at every single scene. I was wheezing with laughter at Sam. I was just dying at all of fucking Pike's. Sam, it's probably going to be a controversial opinion because I think our friend Cranky doesn't like this episode very much, but it just makes me feel happy. I think about how fun this must have been to film. I think about the strong emotional heart with Amanda and with Chapel. I think about everyone getting to act their heart out. I think about all the visual comedy. I think about the interesting sci-fi concept. I think about how cool medical archaeology is. I think about the fact that we had a all-female away team mission to the Kokovians, and like that was just a thing that happened because we have such a strong cast of female characters. I adore this show and I adore this episode. If every episode of Strange New Worlds was this good, I would say it's the best Star Trek has ever been. As it is, it's still very, 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 very
it is, good. Razors Coming In is now our highest rated one so far. This is episode 5, so we're slowly going. I wonder how much we're going to rate the Lower Decks episode, just purely because it is the Lower Decks episode. But we'll see.
Dude, do you think about the fact that we've given our first 10 out of 10? We still have the Lower Decks crossover and the potential for a musical episode to come. Dude, if we get that musical. We get that musical.
Depends on the songs. Depends on the songs. Depends on the songs.
But dude, imagine if they're good. Okay, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity. If any of you have a like for musical theater, or musicals in general, Anthony Rapp stars in a short film called Trouble that is about a singing traveling salesman and it's very dark and macabre.
Anthony Rapp.
Yes, absolutely. It's called Trouble, I believe it is. Let me just double check that and put it in the chat because it is a great Anthony Rapp. Is it Trouble? I think it's Trouble.
While you're doing that, Kern gives it a 9.5. Evan gives it a 9. That rounds chat up to a 9.4. Still time to get a rating in if you want.
Yes, it is Trouble by Anthony Rapp. It is a short film. It is 11 minutes long. Watch it on your lunch break. If you enjoy musical theatre, you will thank me. It's great and very dark. Good fun. A little bit of violent, but good. If you like Sweeney Todd, if you like these things, you'll love it. But
cool.
Dude, if we can get a musical Star Trek episode, I'm so...
I think it's going to be... The episode is called Subspace Rhapsody. Like, come on.
But man, fucking Charades is such a fucking good episode. And I don't care if it's controversial. I don't care if that makes me a fake Star Trek fan. I don't care.
You've got to have different things. You've got to have some fun things. Like, otherwise you just end up with, like, stale seasons and the show gets cancelled. It's got to have some variety. It's got to have stuff that brings other people in. Like, I would show Spock Amok and Charades to my mother and she would enjoy it because it's funny and she knows the basic premise of Star Trek to know that, Spock shouldn't act like that. So, I think that's the test really, is if you can show it to someone that knows nothing about Star Trek and they enjoy it, then it's a good episode. Definitely.
Yeah. In fact, Evans points out he would have scored the season 1 finale higher. What did we give the season 1 finale? Because I was very, very positive on that, I recall.
We gave it a 9. We're all quite positive on it. A Quality of Mercy. Yeah. That was 9s all round from me, you and Big, who rated that. So yeah, no, we were very high on that. So I think that's fair. That's a fair comment.
We just have a place in our heart for good Vulcan comedy, I guess.
I love a farce. Like I said, we're just waiting for the airplane kind of jokes, Leslie Nielsen to come around here. Did I take off the Shatner book reading hair flips? Yes, I did. I have a sore throat. Also, no.
Oh yeah, fair.
Anyway,
no, they want to listen to it. Once your throat is recovered, you put that back on, you fucking shyster.
Maybe I'll save that for the charity stream.
All right.
Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll be back next week with next week's episode. Do we know the episode title yet? Do we know what episode next?
Resurgence, isn't it?
Sorry. Well, we were back on Wednesday with Resurgence, yes, but next week for the Strange New Worlds review.
Oh, that I don't know.
Do we have it yet? I'm sure it was like Lost in Translation with no synopsis yet, so that's the next episode. So
that sounds like an Uhura episode.
That does sound like an Uhura episode. That's pretty cool. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us. We will be back on Wednesday. Join us for some Star Trek Resurgence. If not, if you're watching us repeat, we'll be back in a week and watch the next review. See you later. Live long and prosper. Ta-ra. Bye.